stop stretching your hamstrings before you try this test. You might be making your lower back worse. You see, the hamstrings have a large nerve running through them called the sciatic nerve. And when this nerve gets an issue, perhaps from a disc bulge higher up or whatever other kind of issue you might have, it can give the hamstrings a perceived feeling of tightness. Now, this is why we need to really differentiate neural tension versus hamstring tightness, because if you don't, just mindlessly yanking on the hamstring is going to tension the nerve more, and it's going to exacerbate the issue and probably give you more back pain. All right, for this quick test, all we're gonna do is lie down. We're doing the test on both legs, but you can pick whatever one you want to go first. So once we lie down, we are gonna straighten our leg out and bring it all the way up, as far as you can go before you start to feel a lot of tightness in the back of the leg. Now from here, we are gonna back off about 3 to 4 inches. Now this should alleviate that tightness, so you should no longer be stressed in the hamstring. Now from this position, if we can flex our foot, bring it closer to us, and that puts the same amount of stress in the back of our hamstring, or if we were to bring our neck forward, this would be tensioning the sciatic nerve, and if that brings that same amount of tension that you had up here, then there probably is some sciatic nerve play with your hamstring tightness. And that's something that we're gonna want to take care of. All right, so what that means is if you tested positive for some potential nerve tension, then I want you to check out my video on desensitization, because that would be the next step. We're trying to wind down the pain trigger so we can get some of that nerve settled down potentially. Now, if you didn't test for any of that nerve tension, then continue watching and we'll go over one of my favorite hamstring stretches and if you should be stretching them at all. And that brings us to the question, why wouldn't you want to stretch your hamstrings? Well, we have to understand is that the body adapts to the stress you put on it. So if you are a runner or a jumper, your body can be making the hamstrings tight to adapt to the stress you're placing on it. And if you were to take away that tightness, you would see some deficits in the sport. Now, if you have like a perfect symmetry or a perfect like alignment between strength training and mobility, then you could potentially get away with it, but that would be a very fine line. So in general, you want to make sure that you are stretching for what you're doing predominantly. Here's my 2 favorite hamstring stretches. Number 1 is an active hamstring stretch. We are going to support one leg at a 90-degree angle, and what we are going to do over about 10 to 12 repetitions, we are going to try to go a little bit higher every time we come down. So we're going to go up to the point where it gets a little bit tight and then come back down. And the goal is after 10 or so, we want to be a little bit higher. And if you want to make it a little bit more intense, you can again flex your foot, and that will put more of a demand on the hamstring. However, this will get the calf too, so keep that in mind. Number 2, we're going to add a static component to it, where we are going to bring the leg up. Again, bringing the foot closer to us does put more stress on the hamstring again, but also on the calf. So back off on that if you're getting too much on the calf. But we're gonna hold this for about a minute, and we're gonna do this for about 2 sets. And as always, if you found this content helpful, please consider subscribing. It means the world to me.